Hello, my name is Rico A. Harris. This is my Lynn research presentation. I am an artist, educator, and product designer. I've been an educator for thousands of children, neurotypical to neurodivergent, from ages 4 to collegiate. As a product designer, I'm a digital and physical product designer with several degrees in design and patents as well. The Lynn Research Project is my opinions and information. This is the project that I've designed, which is AAC, Designing for the Gap for Families in the Gap. As a product designer, as an educator, I was in charge to create an app that communicates for low and nonverbal communicators around mealtime, and this is the design and the presentation of that app for design. Sometimes there is a huge gap to get us to the starting line. These were the words of a parent of a neurodivergent adult speaking about her abilities to deal with the medical and educational resources that were provided, but the gap between those resources and herself and family. I started with intentions and a definition. The definition is the gap, which refers to the systemic void that hinders a timely and equitable access to healthcare and educational resources. My first intention was to design an easily accessible app for a cellular device to be used used by low and nonverbal communicators to communicate about food and mealtime. The app is designed to be independent and to be a bridge to larger language models. It's not a one size fits all. It's designed to be culturally responsive, as well as this is a design concept to refer to inform greater research. My gathering information process started first with people, as it always should, by interviewing speech and language pathologists, psychologists, education professionals, as well as doing student and patient observations. I physically examined pictorial AAC communication devices, digital and physical, at the Mary Jane Reese Center and the Communication Technology and Education Center, as well as online. I did literature reviews relating to my training at Lind and the Mind Institute, articles, medical journals, and other publications were also read. As a designer, our charge is to first create some personas to humanize our project and to give us a reason for designing the best project we can. So these are some of the possible users that could be use this app. Saya is a 4.5-year-old girl who is undiagnosed and informally trained or schooled by her grandmother. She's living on a Navajo reservation. Malcolm is a 3-year-old autistic child who is in daycare and living in Northern California. Mikael is a 7-year-old autistic and ADHD child who is publicly schooled. The gaps in access for these individuals, and in this case Hosea, is the fact that her family is one of the 31% of American Indian, Alaskan Native American households that are below the poverty line. These households are also lowest in the home internet access, and these digital divides are most noticeable in rural communities, which she lives in. So her access gaps are physical resources. The gaps in access for Malcolm are wait time related. He is waiting 6 months to 1 year for a digital communication device. This is based on the opinions of local experts. 6 months to 1 year for a 3 to 5 year old is 10 to 33% of their life, and this is an important time in communication and speech and language development. So Malcolm has an access gap of a loss of time. Mikhail has family factors that create an access gap, logistical barriers, immigration status, and insurance limits, which create circumstantial factors. And these are factors that could be available and are different for different families. I'd like to ask in this session, what reason for inaccessibility is acceptable? Just something to think about. I aligned my research and design with universal design for learners and other evidence-based practices. This is a chart that shows evidence-based practices for 0 to 5 year olds. The universal design for learning, the naturalistic intervention, and technology-aided instruction are probably the most key forms of design that related to the project and the app, but there were so many others, and this is a short list of the many the many of decades of experience in research that related to this project. My solution was to create a pictorial AAC device, a digital device. And the design objectives were in two groups. One was to create a culturally responsible, family-centered, using a smartphone, prioritize low barriers to entry, and make it easy to use for caregivers. This is simply to simplify the process of using a AAC device, digital communication device, for caregivers, because the using of device should not outweigh the outcome of the device, the work and effort put into. The second group shows that we're following educational evidence-based practices. We're using a small language model and using motivational subject matter that requires daily use and it has a content that's adjustable user. These are the educational factors or objectives that allow for a device that is still simple to use but effective. So in creating a family-specific outcome, the first aspect that creates a different sort of app that's on the market and part of the revolutionary sort of idea of that's different about this app is that an intake system could create a outcome that was specific to user and family, being a family-centered design. So on the left side, you see the caregivers, the father, the mother, and the teacher, all which go along as profiles with the app and can be transferred from device to device instead of sticking to one device, which at some points isn't the best way to have your information. The second is the user side. These sides will come together to create a user-specific outcome. Showing an example, the demographics here show location-based ethnicity and household languages that create a specific family profile, but also give a family direction for this app to discuss with the family possibilities of food and language that could help the educational outcome for the user. The goals are fixed, learning to use the app to increase the food variety and mealtime vocabulary. These were goals that I heard over and over again from families, caregivers, and professionals as the main goals of communicating around mealtime and some of the educational goals for nonverbal speakers. The second side is the user side, which creates a user-specific questions, and these questions are designed to create a very specific outcome for the user that talks to the user's skills, abilities, but they're also their natural inclinations and or what they were born with. One example of that is skin color. Most often the default skin color does not match everyone's skin color, but simply by asking in this intake system, you'll be able to create emojis, icons that actually represent the user, therefore creating a greater connectivity towards the end result, which is an educational product. This combination of these two sides allows for a greater design that is user specific, family specific, and works around the family centered design process that we are focused on. Here are some of the common responses for and the growth potential. The first two levels show a yes and a no and an ABC. Icons, these allow or give the allow for the notion that this is a system that's meant to grow with you. Also, if a child or a user is regressing, that to know that they could be use the most simple form or the most complex form, which is actually typing out information. The mealtime vocabulary, or the vocabulary being about mealtime, is the central focus of this app, which creates a small language model. All vocabulary in this small language model is pre, during, and post vocabulary around mealtime. As you can see, the bottom two layers discuss utensils and activities, but the last layer speaks about pain, which all related just to mealtime, pre or post situations that can happen with a family or an individual. Creating user-specific content. Our first example is for Hosea. Her family is bilingual, and we believe that, especially in bilingual houses, that a bilingual option is necessary, but it's also not necessary to have to program each individual segment of it, and that a specific intake form could create a language-specific outcome for Hosea and her family. Her mother using words in English, her grandmother using some words in Navajo, allows for an outcome that she can use that works with both of her caregivers most frequently, and creates a language model which is representative of her and possibly gives the best outcome for her to learn. The next two are for Malcolm and for Mikael. These two represent user-specific content. You know, each one represents their specific parent, their specific pain point, but also shows that this system is meant to grow with the individual, although still retaining a a small language model, which keeps the user using it, but not dedicated to using it all day, because of screen time as an issue for persons with or with neurodivergent issues is a problem these days. Video modeling is a coaching for caregivers and coaching for users. These are the very simple, very tight-knit explanations of like how to use and how to get close for caregivers as far as the communication efforts. And the modeling for users, again, is very close to the educational content. It's not meant to teach everything and all things about communication, but to be very specific about how to communicate using the app and to communicate about food in the most simple manners. The addition of vocabulary being a culturally responsive act was the second part of this slide. You can see at the bottom, chana, garbanzo, and chickpeas are used to describe one food content that could be available, but each individual will be allowed to create their own family respective content and use it in a very simple, simplified way, which is part of our original objectives. And then creating specific special interest content and a reward system allows educational gaming, educational content to be part of the app, but also to reward the user in a way that doesn't also create a reward system based on food, but incorporates not only a reward system that you get what you want as the reward system is food related, but also another and separate system that gives you a system that's a reward for you being used. Our next steps in conclusion is to create, at least for this project, is to create a educational team to create the content, to work with engineering partners, and to do user testing. This is all an effort to continue to fill in the gap. Thank you to the many professionals that are doing so now and continuing that work. These are some of the selected references. I'd like to say thank you to the many brilliant thinkers at the NorCal Lind program, the Minds Institute, UC Davis, the Reese Center, CTEC, AUCD, and my mentor, Jean Ganser-Gurdon, family advocate Safia Neal, and the many nationally recognized experts, families, and individuals that inform this work. Thank you again for all the effort that you put in and the work that you helped me to design. If you would like to contact me, my name is Rico A. Harris, and I can be contacted at designforthegap@gmail.com. Again, that's designforthegap@gmail.com. Thank you so much for listening to this presentation and being a part of this process. Thank you.
The UC Davis Mind Institute was founded in 1998 with the promise to reduce and prevent the disabilities that can be associated with autism and other neurodevelopmental conditions. Every day, our clinicians and researchers make progress on that promise. Our groundbreaking research on autism, Fragile X syndrome, chromosome 22q11.2 deletion syndrome, ADHD, and other conditions associated with disability are helping affected individuals achieve their fullest potential. Please visit our website or our social media platforms to find out more about current studies, upcoming events, and how you can help make a difference.